Yeah. And so then, right as the cops knocked on the door, I realized two things. One, trampoline was still on fire, and hot yoga isn't exactly the same definition that I thought it was.
What did you think it was?
Well, apparently not that.
That's a story for not on the podcast.
Yeah, that's a story for not on the podcast because it got weird.
Okay.
But
So
I'm
somebody
out
out there, I'm going to throw it out immediately. We 6 seconds into the podcast, Tommy, we need you to make a cartoon of whatever Fifi's version of hot yoga is.
Yeah, I lost a good pair of pants that day. But anyways.
Welcome to High Alpha Hooligans, everybody. I'm Scud, and as always, we have Fifi and Jimmy Chaos. Jimmy.
Yeah, it's me. It's me, Jimmy. I finally fixed my issues from the last time, and I got an aviation oriented Hawaiian shirt, and I'm excited.
Sure did.
The shirt is so good.
Any kind of similarities to the background of Grey Wolf though is purely coincidence. He shared the file with me for the background of being on the Airbus station, and I thought I'd use it because it was great. Just felt the room felt a little cluttered today, so I didn't want to show any of that off. So I kind of borrowed that from Grey Wolf.
You're definitely
yes,
Jimmy
totally.
Chaos and not
I would totally Jimmy Chaos, but for those listening,
you're going to be Jimmy Chaos for as long as that beard lasts.
I can't do it anymore. No, it's actually me, Grey Wolf. I'm here.
I would have believed it more if you were holding a piece of pizza.
Yeah, I should have had the pizza on, but yeah.
You don't make the pizzas, right?
Well, Jimmy does. I don't.
He does.
Jimmy does. Yeah,
he is the pizza man.
So we've got Grayson filling in for Jimmy Chaos on this episode, and we've got guests with us. First off, before we talk about the guests, give them a platform. Recognize our sponsors and partners: Fox 3 Solutions, Eagle Dynamics, Keepler, and Grinelli Designs, helping us make this podcast better and better. With us today, we have Match in a Hawaiian shirt as well. Actually, she showed up to dinner in that. And I was like, I got to send a message to everybody right now. Here, an airplane-themed Hawaiian shirt. This is perfect. And with us off camera is SIC, Match's husband. He wants to pop in and say hi. And our third guest, Ty, call sign
Tuna. or he just let one rip, so we decided to hostile rename him Poops on Camera.
Poops on Camera, Pock.
Love it.
So I'm relegated to the sim rig, and they're taking center stage on this one. You will hear baby cooing, and you will see SIC and Match kind of swap out and pop in and out as they take care of
7-month-old life.
Pop. Yeah, hashtag parent life.
I have no idea how
Match
you guys.
and SIC. Go ahead, Phoebe.
I have no idea how you guys have two flying schedules and a baby at the same time. That's
a podcast in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's a whole episode dedicated to that. Match I've known for 7
years,
or 8 years.
7 or 8 years.
When we flew T-38s together. When we started, I was teaching T-38s.
Yeah, he was one of my instructors.
And Match is now an A-10 pilot, as is SIC, and SIC's also got time in the Viper. And that's today's episode. We've got 2 real-world hog drivers and one who's also a Viper driver, non-gamers, non-DCS players that just spent the last couple hours swapping out in DCS. And that's what we got. We finally get to do, in all caps, the title of the episode, Real Fighter Pilot Plays DCS in our podcast.
I can't wait. Eat your heart out, Hoggett. Eat your heart out, Hoggett. I hate Hoggett. All right.
While we're sitting here, though, I'd like to give Match and SIC just a chance to say hi and tell us a little about themselves outside of my introduction.
We won't do it. We promise.
Sure. Yeah.
No, it's not that kind.
We asked them if we were going to get popcorn thrown at us or anything.
It's not a roll call. Not
from
yet.
A roll call.
Popcorn can't come through the screen yet.
Yeah. Right.
Smell-o-vision.
Yeah. He's okay. Yeah. I fly A-10s now, but I finished pilot training back in 2018 for the Air Force, and then was a FAPE for T-38s, was a first assignment instructor pilot for T-38s for 4 years, and then got lucky enough to get picked up for A-10s. That was my number one choice. Wanted to go fly the Hog and do the CAS mission, and super excited about that, and got to deploy right away, finishing up out of B course, deployed to Al Dhafra. And then right after that, came back, had this little guy, then finished up getting back into the airplane, and now hopefully going to the centrifuge in a couple of weeks, gonna go do my 9G profile for the F-35. I'm transitioning in November.
Back to the fuge.
Back to the fuge.
Ouch.
Did you have to do that for the A-10? I take it you did, but I have no idea.
The A-10 is a 7.5 G. So what you had to do for the T-38, you'd have to do. It was fine for the A-10, so I didn't have to go back prior, which was a huge plus. And now I'm trying to do all the squats and trying to get like my core back from baby, you know. So
the centrifuge is awful.
Yeah.
It is not like you can pull G's in an airplane and you can be fine with it, but the fuge is just absolute hell and torture.
I've heard stories about like after. I've heard stories about. I've heard stories from some pilots about like after having a baby, like they were able to handle G's way easier.
Well, I hope that's true.
So.
Well, I'll let SIC introduce himself.
A little bit about himself as well.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what's going on? Yeah, I'm SIC. I'm a reservist, actually. I'm a full-time reservist. I got hired off the street after going to college in Minnesota. I got CFI II-MEI at school in Minnesota, and then flew a little bit of civilian, did about 1,000 hours as a skydive pilot, and then some flight instructor type working. And then got picked up off the street by the 93rd Fighter Squadron, Homestead, Florida, Vipers. Went to pilot training. Yeah, the Makos, baby. It was a lot of fun. So, yeah, went to pilot training, went to NJET, did the whole thing. Wound up transferring to the Hog. Been a Hog driver since 2016. I'm an instructor pilot in the A-10. I'm a Sandy 1 FAC A. And I'm also a major airline pilot as well. Just haven't flown for the majors in about 2 years since flying the Hog full time. So a couple of deployments under my belt: Afghanistan 2018, Al Dhafra with her 2 years ago, and then did a Korea TSP as well. So been all over the place.
It's badass. The whole time you're doing that, you're just earning seniority as an airline pilot.
Yeah, 100%. It's that's the way to go. If you're interested in doing that, I would definitely do it the way I did. Go get your major airline job, and then go back to the military duty. Do that full time. Watch your seniority build up. So, yeah,
that's a horrible way to go.
Threw my hat in the ring to go to F-35s with match. So we'll see if the AFRIC can conveniently align our schedules. And maybe give me a transition course as well. Otherwise, if there's any units out there listening and you guys want to hire an ex-Viper dude, bring me back to the Viper, baby. I'm all about it. 120th Fighter Squadron. I'm ready to go.
For all the guard commanders out there that play DCS and watch our podcast.
You never know. You never know.
You can't do that. You can't go down an engine. You can only go up engines. Everybody knows that.
Dude, give me a Viper. I'm all about it, man. I'm a 4th gen tactics guy. Don't ask me any 5th gen tactics tonight. I don't know anything about it. It's just beeps and squeaks. You guys probably know more about it than I do, to be honest with
you. It's gonna be all about the Hog today. Maybe a little Viper talk too. Maybe a little Viper talk.
Maybe when we get into the DCS,
that's fine.
Well, there'll be a little Viper leakage.
Yeah.
Waiting for now that they've thrown out the F-35 line. Get ready for emails from Eagle Dynamics.
Yeah, right.
Looking for future sneeze.
They do have an F-35 in works. It's going to be coming out for the game here very soon.
Don't get started. Don't get Scott started on that. Let's just keep us moving.
We'll bypass the discussion. But we will talk about the A-10 and feel free to jump in, both of you, on any of this stuff. But, well, I mean, this whole thing is about you guys flying the A-10 in DCS. match.
Yeah.
You had a chance to fly it in DCS.
How was it?
You want to start us off with your initial thoughts?
Yeah, so I told Scud this 2 years ago when I graduated B course, or when I was almost done graduating B course. But man, if I had had this when I was going through B course, I probably would have like been doing better in B course. Like we didn't do bad, but like this thing is really accurate when it comes to like learning the basics for sure. And then like even like the weapon systems and like being able to like roll in and like on the wire that you want and having like seeing the symbology that you think that you're going to see, like it's really cool to like see. And I think SIC felt the same when you put us in Afghanistan. I think his very first reaction when he like got up there was like, holy crap, we are back in
We're here.
Kandahar. Like,
yeah, he's like, this is the departure I flew.
Like this is the departure. Yeah, like this was the actual departure that I flew.
The
like,
question would be,
out
was
in-
it? The question would be, was it a good holy crap we're back in Afghanistan, or a bad
I
holy
don't know.
crap we're
Was
back
that
in
a good?
Afghanistan?
No.
A little bit of sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. I think there's smarter people in this room than I am about the DCS A-10 module. But like, wasn't it created in conjunction with an ANG unit as a trainer, as a desktop trainer? I thought there was.
I heard it's licensed, yeah, and the flight models. What they used for the A-10.
That's good. I'm sure that's great feedback to hear that.
Yeah.
It flies remotely close.
It flies really close, and like the last time that I flew this, SCUD didn't have the new flight controls for the stick that he does now.
Oh yeah.
And it made a significant difference in terms of like the HOTAS functions. Now I will say that at least from my like feeling, the HOTAS on the DCS was a little bit more sensitive than the airplane. You have to like have a little like it's not quite as like responsive. You have to put like a little bit like the slew switch. You've got to like really have like a lot of pressure down, and like some of that stuff's adjustable in the plane with your like stat page functions. You can go ahead and adjust those settings in the airplane, but it's not typical to have like an airplane that's that sensitive, like, and have your slew switch and your coolie switch and your flight controls be as like oh, but you get used to it.
So question. So this is something I love asking people who have flown, who do it for a living, right? When I first met SCUD a couple of years ago, when we would fly, every once in a while, SCUD will call himself out in chat while we're like getting set up and like starting the jets in DCS and stuff like that, and SCUD would be like, man, I just did it again. I just like moved my elbows in, like I actually had them on the canopy rail. Did you catch yourself?
The canopy, I took my elbows in.
Yeah. So
did you
it's
catch
funny.
anything
We use the top like on the canopy rail a lot. Like we have our saddlebags up there, and like when we're like trying to like do like defensive BFM, we're like taking our hands like up on the top, and we're like physically pushing back to like look around. And when SIC got like in there and was first looking around, he's like reaching and like falling like in DCS trying to like reach for the canopy, so definitely something that you got to get used to.
Yeah, that's that VR immersion. That'll do it for you.
So maybe Scud, take us a step back here a little bit on as far as like what are your controls, what's your kind of setup to how to kind of replicate the flight, and what did you put them through?
Yeah.
Generic rudder pedals, but I'm running the Thrustmaster Warthog throttles and stick grip, so it matches and it's all mapped. So all the HOTAS buttons are the same, and then I'm running that on a Moza base.
Okay. So force feedback. Yeah.
The first time that Matt flew the DCS a couple of years ago, it was just the Thrustmaster Warthog, but now it's the Moza base. And it's in VR, Quest 3, running on a 4090, so fairly stout, good graphics, and yeah, that's the setup.
What kind of VR headset?
SIC's taking over comms now. It's a Quest 3 VR.
The mustache returns. So
it's a great mustache. It's one of the finest.
It's one of the Robin Olds would be proud.
So for those maybe
right
listening,
now, it's the best facial hair in the room. Until Grey Wolf puts his beard back on, and then,
oh man!
And then he takes the cake.
So when you set them up, what'd you do? Did you have them like cold start and then like fly up? I'm sure you guys
in the interest of time, it wasn't a cold start. So it was a hot start jet. I let them pick their loadout, and I can let them talk to that and why. And then there was really close to the departure airfield was basically a target-rich environment. Tanks, technicals, buildings, troops in the open.
All sorts of things that you guys are
and a
dreaming
tanker.
about.
That's right. And a tanker.
So you flew out of Al Dhafra, and okay, I got to ask this question now because I'm a sucker for transits. But so when you flew out of Al Dhafra up into country, like how long was that transit for you guys? Because that's a trip.
It depends. You know, like we went all over the place. My average sortie, I think, in Al Dhafra was about 4 to 6 hours, something like that. It wasn't honestly that bad. There were times when it went longer, and there were times when it went shorter for different reasons too. But there was a lot of airspace problems when we were deployed in Al Dhafra. As you can imagine, you've got Abu Dhabi and Dubai airspace right there, and this is like basically a first world country. So they've got F1 races. I mean, like right down the street from that base, basically. So, so there was a lot of contention in the airspace system for space that we could actually work and do the mission that we were sent up there to do. And that led to longer sorties when it really didn't need to be all that long. And then sometimes when we got help from the host country, it shortened them significantly because we were able to get through airspace that we otherwise would be driving like quite literally like 270 degrees around just to get to the location where we needed to go. So
now let's ask the questions all the people have asked. Let's get the people what they want. So what?
Oh, the viewer questions,
yeah. When SCUD stuck you in the sim, what everybody wants to know, because everybody, like in DCS, everybody always puts as much bullshit as they can on the A-10s, right? So like we're talking like 12 mavs, 16 freaking Mark 82.
Call it the Hoggett loadout.
So
load it up.
What did you throw on there? Let's spank some people.
Yeah, dude. So, well, it's funny because one of the first things that he offered up were LAU-88s for AGM-65s, and that's just not something we fly with anymore. So no LAU-88s, LAU-117s for all the AGM-65s, but I think I threw like a DRA AIM-9 Mike 9s on there, or AIM-9, AIM-9. Mike 9s on there with a DRA on station 1. We had a targeting pod. We had 2x AGM-65s. I had a kilo and a Golf on there. And then I threw 4 500-pound bombs on the center stations, on the paired stations. So 4 and 8 and 5 and 7. And then on the outskirts, I threw on some rockets. And you can have a myriad of different rockets. You're flying at night. You might want something, some Lose or something else on there, 278s or whatever, but I think I threw APKWS, which is one of my favorites from Afghanistan days. But you got to keep in mind, dude, like I don't know how much you guys talk about like takeoff and landing data, or how much people actually pay attention to it on these. Yeah, not at all. Yeah. So you got to imagine like 3,300 foot field elevation or whatever it is in Kandahar, and it's 120 degrees on the ramp, so the density altitude is closer to like 6,000-7,000.
6,000-7,000.
Yeah. And the A-10 just, you're not going to get off the ground with like that loadout. In fact, like you would have to probably either limit rounds or limit gas, and then go directly to the tanker for a pre-ball tank. So take off with like half fuel or something like that.
Right.
But you'd have to sit down and actually run those numbers. But you're not going to even get off the ground with that loadout in a place like Kandahar.
Yeah.
So,
because I say that because I want to call out Arctic, one of the guys on the on our server that flies with us, and he's like the resident like A-10 guy on our server.
Yeah.
And he will throw like 4 2,000-pound bombs on there. He'll GBU-31s all day, like V2s. And
I got a lot of respect for that, but like,
it's definitely,
dude, I got a lot of respect for that, but you're not gonna get very far.
A lot of memes on the A-10 online with all the online servers. There's people running 6 MAVs and 6 GBU-12s, and each of those are on triple ejector racks or whatever, and then they got everything else. Oh my god!
Yeah, exactly. You put them all up first.
Coupled with the 6 APKWS.
That's the zombie apocalypse loadout right there.
Why can't I get above 200 knots in an A-10?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say pretty typically, you've got AIM-9s, you've got 2 Mavericks, you've got a pod of rockets, and then depending on what the mission set is, you're going to carry anywhere between 2 and 4 500-pounders. If you really want to load up the thousands, you might get 2 or SDB. But
you guys are doing SDBs now,
yeah. We were the new suite came out, and we're able to carry SDB now, which is it's huge for the A-10. So
yeah,
that's
for
cool.
sure.
Yeah.
It's a CAS platform. Anything air to ground, I think the A-10 should have to be able to carry. So
yeah, it helps us create a little bit of distance too between our targets. In a high threat situation, it creates the distance that we need. So
okay, so let's go through the sortie more. Scud, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be taking
You're
over.
good, dude. Take over.
But let's go through the sortie more. So like, had you guys take off, go engage some targets and stuff like that. So systems are pretty similar to what you're used to, obviously, because it's DCS is pretty good about simulating stuff. We're so I guess a big question is like, how common is that? Because like in DCS, what it's called, like the Scorpion head mounted unit. Is that something you guys fly with a lot and all the time, or I'm asking for the listeners, right? So
yeah, every day. Yeah, we're flying with HEMIX every day. We train to it every day. We bring it on the jets every day. It's exceptionally helpful in target correlation. So if you're looking through like the CAS 12-step CAS program, like if you're walking through how you're going to take a 9-line, do your readbacks, target correlate, bring in other assets, the whole thing from start to finish, target correlation becomes a huge factor. And we're working through that right now, because as the younger community comes online and, the new lieutenants come out of the B course, and the people that don't quite have as much experience as the older guys grew up without HEMIX, so we didn't have anything. In some cases, the really old guys didn't grow up without a TGP. So I flew with a couple of hog drivers that never even had a TGP. They had pave pennies and used Mavericks basically as like sensor aided target correlation. So what's happened because of technology is we've become more reliant upon the technology in order to really correlate the targets. But when you think about the A-10 as a tactical platform, you have kind of 2 different weapons categories. You have a category of weapons in which you need to be able to see the target with your, eyeballs over the rail, as we say, like through the canopy over the rail, in order to employ the weapon. So that might be your Mark 82 low drags, in CCIP. That might be shooting a Maverick. That might be shooting the gun. And that target correlation process has to happen over the rail, because it doesn't matter if you see it in the TGP. That's great. It's cool if you can see it, but if you can't see that thing over the rail, you're not going to be able to hit it with a gun. And then you have a completely different set of weapons systems where everything is done digitally. So you're sending grids to bombs, and the bombs go where they're sent. And the target correlation is happening primarily through the MFCDs, the TADs, and the TGP. So the HEMIX really closed that gap, because technology, obviously, with grids, like you get a 6-8-digit grid, and then you're able to get a TGP in there. Now the HEMIX will just drive your eyeballs directly to whatever it is that it's looking at, and so you've kind of eliminated that problem. What we're finding is anytime that the HEMIX is degraded, the system just doesn't work, or it doesn't work properly. It's not bore sighted properly. The bore sight itself is way off, whatever the case is. Like it drives confusion amongst the younger people, because they don't really know necessarily how to look out the window, how to take what they're seeing.
Keep your head in the clouds.
Yeah. So
that, interestingly, though, that was one of the things that we ran into that I don't think is very well modeled or caused confusion when SIC was flying. He was trying to target verify for a weapon attack and wasn't seeing the data in DCS the same way he would have expected to see it. So it's good, but there are some fine detail insufficiencies, and one was the the wedding cake not presenting in the targeting pod, which I didn't know was a thing because I don't fly the real airplane. And he was trying to verify by seeing the SPI in the pod footage. Didn't even know that was missing.
yeah. Obviously, like anytime that you're not looking out the window, pointing the gun at a tank and pulling the trigger, you need some sort of verification that the grids that you're sending to the bombs are actually the correct grids. And so we use kind of a myriad of different ways to ensure that what we've updated into the system as new grids that are going to go to the bombs is actually what's the place that it's going to go. And one of the ways that we do that is with the targeting pods. So
that's good. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. I'm too smooth-brained to even try to fly the A-10, the C2 model in DCS. There's way too many buttons for me. I'm like, no thanks, I'm good.
Yeah, it's old school, man. Yeah, I'll tell you, most of the buttons don't move once you get the jet started. Most of them just stay as is, and then you can check max and just leave those things in max the whole time because you're never gonna pull them out of max.
Yeah, we'll have to work on getting you guys addicted to DCS so you can just come in and maybe I'll learn from you, but then it'll be just as bad as me trying to learn BFM from SCUD sometimes, and man, he just insults me. So.
Well, with my virtual BFM because I don't really know it.
He did talk me through tanking, so I'm
yeah, I did. I could teach formation and air refueling. That's something I know. Watching both match and SIC with the HOTAS in DCS was like watching. You seen the movie Cable Guy when he's setting up the cable box and his fingers are just
Cable Guy.
flying on the remote. He's like going through menus and setting the tint and the contrast on the TV, and he's setting all the channels up, and his fingers fly. I was watching both of them, like just scrolling through the MFD screens, and just like so fast, I couldn't even keep track of how quickly they were going through stuff. It was like, oh man, that's what it really looks like.
Yeah, I would say honestly, like it's interesting you say that, Scud, because I would say that's the one downfall to like I would say training on DCS, at least for me, would be you've got to take like a mouse. We've got a mouse, you know, that moves around the screen, and then wherever I look with my head is I have to like click on the mouse to like move the buttons, and you get so used to in the jet like just reaching down, moving it when you need it, and the speed in which you're doing it. You know, in real time in the airplane is just so fast. Everything's moving so quickly, and the information has to like get into your brain and out of your brain like in lightning speed. So it's a little slow for me right now, but I would bet there's DCS players that just make me look slow for sure, because they're so used to the HOTAS. They're so used to you know, having the mouse and operating the switches that way. So.
You say it was slow. It was very fast from my perspective.
I mean, yeah, because you know where you gotta go. You just gotta.
I know where I gotta go. Yeah, yeah. I know what menus I need to get into in order to see the information that I need. So, but again, we do it every day. I think I've got 1,200 hours in the A-10, and you know that's a long time flying the jet. It's almost been a decade flying the A-10. So.
Yeah,
I have a question from the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Stephen.
No. Go ahead, because I was just gonna start going through this. So.
Some of the questions. Some of these I'm gonna ask SIC, and some I'll save for when match comes back up. But
yeah,
from your perspective, we asked match like, hey, what did you think overall of the game? And you can give us your opinion with this question. But what do you think is reflected well, and what do you think is reflected poorly in the sim in the game compared to real life?
The systems are like exceptionally realistic, like the cockpit setup, how the switches move, what it looks like in the cockpit, all the way down to like the detail of like dust on the canopy and like dust on like each one of the switches and things. It's exceptionally realistic. I think in terms of systems training, if you were going to go out and get like an instrument qualification in the A-10, you could do the whole thing in DCS because that's how realistic it is. I didn't get a chance to start the motors or anything like that, but it's very realistic in terms of where the switches are and how they operate. The other thing I'm super impressed with is the level of detail in the environment around you. So whether it's the canopy bow, whether it's the ground beneath you, the targets, everything in like, dude, I think I saw secondaries going off like after I shot targets and things like that. Like that level of detail, we don't even get in the simulators in the Air Force. And that's where I think, honestly, like DCS should break into the simulator game, you know, for the DoD because they're doing it better than the DoD is doing it, and I'm sure the DoD is spending a lot more money. So that to me is incredible, and I'm super impressed by all of those things. It felt like I was in the jet when I had that headset on. The level of detail, like I remember, right, flying in Kandahar, and that's where we were set up today, and the level of detail on departure, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm certain I flew over that house, and all the way to the point, yeah, I told Match, I was like, I swear I've done a laser spot search like on that mountain right there in the past. So, but all the way to the point where, Afghanistan had some unique environmental problems because certainly like at dusk and stuff, the sunrise, the angle, and the intensity of the sun is so bright, it washes out things like your MFCDs, so it'll wash it out, and it's really hard to see, particularly for dusty jets that have been sitting in the desert for 6 months. So what we would do is have dust like on the MFCDs, and it'd be very difficult to see your TGP screen because you've got dust, and then when the sun is really low in the sky and angled just right at the MFCD, you couldn't break out anything in your TGP because it was just washed out from the sun. And so you'd have to reach up with your finger, and I would take, my gloves on, and I would take the length of my finger and just like squeegee off the MFCDs so I could actually see what the TGP was looking at. And I got like a similar effect from DCS. So the environment is absolutely incredible. I think it's amazing what they've done with the program. So continue to do those things for sure. Obviously, there are some things that unfortunately, like for all of you guys, you just won't see or have the ability to see, and there's submenus and menus and things that the jet does for us and doesn't do for you guys that is noticeable to a pilot that flew 1,200 hours in the jet. But in terms of like basic employment of the A-10, you could probably run an entire training course just learning how to turn the jet on, how to land it, and then how to do basic things like roll in, shoot the gun, drop Mark 82s, even I would say like for the most part dropping GBU-38s and some of the simpler type of GPS guided weapons, which is absolutely incredible that it's that level of detail. So we talk through what's called CTT references, like essentially they're rail references. So like what it looks like over the rail, how close it is to the rail, you can start dictating what angle you're going to be at for each one of the roll-ins. And based on how close the target is to your rail, in the simulator that we have at the Air Force Base, like the rail references are off. It's close, but it's still off. Your rail references are much tighter. So when I was flying, a 45-degree rail reference, like looking at the target out my left window and saying like, yep, that's exactly where it should be. This is how high it should be off the canopy when I roll in, and then I would roll out and I'm on 45 degrees. I was impressed because that's something that we train to, and it's something that the young people have to learn. So I was impressed with all that.
Yeah, I was kind of curious on
That's
like
cool.
seat, when you first jumped in the jet in DCS in VR, and VR is kind of relatively in the long scheme of things a little bit newer in history, as well as the force feedback finally to flight simulators with like the Moza and some other products that are coming out. But I was curious when you hopped into VR and you first looked at everything, did it feel like you needed to adjust your seat height? Did it really, how was the HUD? And then, yeah, some of the other site pictures you kind of alluded to there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so we've got like everybody sits essentially on the same 51 ITP like rail reference, which is how many degrees above the horizon your rail reference actually looks. So we've got like unclassified. When you sit, there's two bolts on the top of the HUD. So you've got a forward bolt and you've got an aft bolt. And what you want is the forward bolt to cut the aft bolt in half. So that's the proper rail reference. You're going to see, if this was a piece of paper at the top of the HUD, you're going to see a slight angle so that you can see the top of the HUD itself. Well, what that essentially drives is that you should not see your TVV. You should not see the horizon when you're sitting on the ground in the HUD. So if you're a DCS player and you're sitting on the ground, in the chocks, and you're rolling your seat down all the way to the point where you can see the horizon and your TVV, you're sitting too low. You are not on the proper rail reference. So even if I were to teach you, you want to be on a 45-degree rail, like here's where you're going to have to see the target out your left window above the canopy rail in order to get on a 45-degree wire, that would not work for you because you're essentially sitting too low. The opposite would be true if you roll the seat all the way up. You're probably going to see like maybe the 7-degree pitch ladder, maybe the 8-degree pitch ladder, something like that. And then, of course, my rail references that I would teach you, the standard rail references for A-10 pilots, again, would not work because you'd be sitting too high and you'd essentially be seeing targets that you would otherwise not be seeing because your seat would otherwise be lower, thus the canopy rail would be higher, thus you wouldn't see the target over the rail. So there's a lot of those little intricacies that we teach to so that we have some standard sight pictures that we're looking for. When I got in, actually, SCUD was like, "Hey, I'm going to readjust you." And I was like, no, you're good right here. Whatever you did, like, you're good. So I usually see essentially, I would say the HUD cuts off about 2 degrees to 3 degrees of the pitch ladders in the negative. Okay, so if I'm looking, I'm seeing about -2 in the pitch ladder, -3, something like that is where the top of the HUD is, and I think that's a pretty good starting point. Again, it's a wag because everybody's going to see something a little bit different, but that's pretty close to a 51 rail.
But now
everybody's been flying the hog wrong. That's my title.
All DCS A-10 drivers are going to be, after listening to this episode, they're all going to jump in and they're going to be like adjusting their seat to get that.
They'll get the front bolt and then they'll get the aft bolt.
Their eyes are getting just so wide right now.
Yeah. So
what's one of your, beside, I mean, everybody's always gonna be like, the gun's the best weapon on the hog to employ. It is, yeah. I mean, of course.
Okay, there we go.
But like, done. But what's one of your other favorite what's one of your other favorite weapons to employ on the hog? Because you said you went up with Mark 82 slicks, and I'm a fan of old school dumb iron. So to hear someone even just mention that, I'm just like, speak to me.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a dying breed. Like, I think at some point we've even stopped teaching diving deliveries with slick bombs altogether in the B course. Correct me if I'm wrong. No? Okay. I heard maybe a rumor that we were going to stop teaching diving deliveries altogether with like Mark 82 slicks.
Well, they are now since the B course is gone, right?
They're on their last class. Yeah.
So they will not be teaching anything anymore.
Yeah, it was a gunfighter type of scowl for you guys today. Like, I'm gonna go out and just go rip some Mark 82s, and there's some athleticism to like being able to roll in on a 45-degree wire and ripping 2 Mark 82s and hitting your target, and then and doing a safe escape and coming off. Like, there's a lot of athleticism, so that's why I'm doing it. It's just a lot of fun, and I've dropped tens of thousands of free throws, I call them. Basically, like, I've done tens of thousands of free throws in my day. So I just wanted to see how realistic DCS was actually going to be about that. Is it a realistic scowl? Nah, it's not a realistic scowl. Like,
but is it fun? Yes,
it's fun. It's fun. And everything is realistic in real war, right? Like, there's going to be a point at some point during some conflict that anything is realistic. So to even say, from a hog driver's perspective, that I'm never going to drop Mark 82s ever again in live combat, I think is unlikely, but not impossible, because you never know what's going to happen in real life. And we only have so many tail kits. We only have so many, any of these things. So at the end of the day, like, it might just be us ripping bombs, and they might be slicks. So yeah,
gotta tell Jimmy. Start limiting those GPS weapons.
Yeah.
Well, and when we were having dinner before this, he was talking about sometimes older systems in the hog that will overload and turn off the CICU, and we were talking about it. He said, you reset it and things come back, but whenever something like that happens, how'd you put it? There's always one weapon on the airplane that'll always work.
Yeah, the gun will always work. Yeah, I mean, it works with like an iron sight. You can turn the HUD into standby mode and roll the pipper down, and you can shoot, and it works. And we practice to it too, because one, the KICU does break. It's called a KICU, by the way, not a CICU. So you guys can, But yeah, the KICU does break. It is overloaded. You got to keep in mind. I think the C model came out maybe in the 90s. Check my math on that one. I'm not exactly sure when they stopped flying A models, but when
The
they
comments will
finally
destroy you if you say something wrong.
yeah, they
Don't worry
will.
about
Oh,
it.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure. Yeah. So the C models there, the A10C with the new KICU MFCDs, the TAD, all the displays, all the things, probably in the 90s, maybe early 2000s. But that thing it is 25 years plus technology, and everybody here has an iPhone in their pocket that has more computing power than that KICU does. So when you start overloading that thing with data links and radios and everything else that we try and stuff square pegs into round holes in the Air Force, the thing just dies, and you'll be flying around, and it's like the old Microsoft, computers. You get the blue screen of death, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, just hard switch on, hard switch off. Wait 10 seconds, that'll help. But
Have you tried turning the power off and back
yeah,
on?
yeah, exactly.
The old,
Yeah,
I call it the old Pakistani tech support trick.
yeah.
But so
To answer your question, Fifi, like the gun is that's the most versatile weapon that we have. And in my personal opinion, like it's the one weapon that the Air Force needs to keep. I know we're not talking right now about divestiture, but it is the weapon that the Air Force needs, because we can't continue to drop bombs on every single tank that drives into the fight. You're going to run out of bombs before they run out of tanks, and it's easier to shoot bullets at these things than it is to drop bombs on them. So it's an unfortunate circumstance that the A-10 is going away, particularly in the large scale fights that we're seeing across the world today, and what's happening. So.
Well, that answered the other question I was going to ask your thoughts on.
I have
short thoughts on the
I have a
retirement.
Jimmy question here about the gun. I have a Jimmy question.
Look, he's back.
It is tell us about the first time that you got to fire the gun.
Oh yeah, this was Jimmy's big question. He definitely wanted
The first time that Match would probably be really good at answering this question. It's been a long time since I fired the gun for the first time, but we did, the basic course out in Tucson, Arizona, and we do it in a range south of Phoenix there, south of Yuma, and it's an incredible experience. I think one of the things that I particularly remember about shooting for the first time is actually the roll-in itself, because anybody that flies airplanes, so if you've ever flown an airplane, whether it's a Cessna or an Airbus or whatever the case is, anytime you're pointing at the ground at 45 degrees nose low, doing like 350 indicated, there's a lot of ground rush. Like, you will scare yourself for the first time doing that. There's not very many experiences in aviation that's like that. And what I remember about shooting the gun isn't necessarily pulling the trigger, smelling the smoke, or doing the things that a lot of people talk about. But my first experience was like, oh my gosh, why am I pointing at the ground 45 degrees nose low at 350 knots? Like, it feels weird. Yeah, that's exactly right. Is this real life? And without the proper technique, in order to get your nose 45 degrees nose low, without the proper technique, you could easily like unload the airplane and get into negative G. And anytime the jet's in negative G, obviously everything from the floor hits the ceiling, and these jets are filled with dust and Cheetos and whatever else people eat in the airplane, saddlebags that are sitting up in front, like up near the HUD itself, and all of the things that you don't want coming up and hitting you in the face and hitting you in the eyeballs, and kneeboards, iPads, all that. Yeah. So
next DCS DLC
you don't really
is cockpit debris.
Yeah. You don't really have the technique. Yeah. So you don't really have the technique there down, and if you're not good at roll-ins because you haven't done your free throws 10,000 times, what's inevitably going to wind up happening is you might be okay holding, positive G on the jet during the roll-in, but most of the time when you roll out at this point is when people get into the situation where they're like, oh, I'm a little long at the target, I got to bring my nose down, even a degree, and that degree at 350 knots and 45 degrees nose low, if you go from 45 to 46, you wind up bunting to about a half a negative G or whatever the case is, and everything comes up, hits the floor, and you're floating in your seat at the same time that you're trying to shoot this this gun and pull the trigger, and so it could be uncomfortable. And so you learn better techniques. You learn to pull short of the target, not long of the target. Pull short and allow the nose to track up. It's going to be a little bit more.
Do you do anything a lot of like nose down trim before you do the roll in to help you once you roll out?
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly for Mark 82s, that's a great question. But yeah, I'll instruct to that. So if you're on base, and you're looking at a target out your left or right canopy, throw in, 6, 8, 6 to 9, let's call it 6 to 9 forward trims. And if you have just enough where the jet actually, wants to lower the nose when you let go of the stick, that's a good amount. So the physics behind it as well, and I wasn't paying, quite as much attention to the physics behind DCS, but the physics behind it makes sense. So what's going to happen at 45 degrees nose low and 350 knots, as you continue to increase airspeed, you continue to increase lift over the wings. And as you increase lift over the wings, the nose wants to track up, not down. So if you pull long at the target, you're going to fight all of that. So you're fighting the natural tendency of the jet to create more lift and bring the nose up. And so you're going to have to push down even more, and then everything rises in your seat, as do you, and you're holding on in the straps, and everything's super uncomfortable. So yeah, absolutely. Forward trim, about 8 clicks or so is usually pretty good. And then what I'll do is just quickly let go of the stick on base. And if the nose kind of drops, I'm like, yep, I got enough. And then I hold that back pressure. And as soon as I crack the wings, roll in, I'm kind of watching my references out the top of my canopy and allow the jet to come. And I'm holding that positive G on the jet the entire time. So
before
I do want
go ahead.
to get Stacia to answer
the gun question.
Match. I wasn't going to do that, but I did it. I do want Match to answer the first burp, but before that, I want to ask you. This is another Jimmy question. I don't have the beard, but he wanted to know APKWs and Mavs. Marry one, kill one, and why?
Sorry, say the question again.
Mavericks and APKWSs. Marry one and kill one, and why?
Ooh.
Which one do you want to keep, and which one do you want to get rid of forever? That was his question.
Ooh, there's a lot of clockwork happening up there.
Oh yeah, there's some.
I think it probably depends on the type of Mav. Because
he's
talking the D's quite a bit.
He's gonna get shamed out of the community if he answers one the wrong way.
Okay,
okay, all right. So I would say it depends. A typical pilot answer, it depends, and it depends on the environment. So you could see today in Afghanistan, I'm going to take my APKWS all day, every day, and you can forget your Mavs. Just keep them in the, keep them down in the box there next to the jet, and I'll let you know if I need them. But if the Russians decide to try and take Kyiv again and run out of gas halfway there, give me all the LMAVs that you guys have. Dude, I don't even need any bombs, dude. Just load me up with GAU-88s. give me the Apocalypse Scal, and I'll just go out there and just huck K models and L models all day.
So before we kick you out of the seat and start bugging Match, we gotta talk Viper. I don't want to talk Viper, but we're gonna talk Viper. Because
it's worth talking a little bit. He did fly a bit.
Yeah, but
I love the Viper.
Scud said you got a shoot down too in it.
Yeah, I merged with MiG-29. He had terrible merge geometry, so I took advantage of it, whooped his butt, and then I shot him down. And Scud goes, "Yeah, there's another one out here." And I was like, "Where is he?" And he's like, "Oh, he's at your 6 o'clock." And I was like, "All right, perfect." So I turn around and I see this dot out on the screen, and I'm like, "Oh, that's him. I'm merging. Like, this is it." And I fly by, and it was the parachute of the dude that I just shot down. So I merged with the parachute dude, and I'm like, "Where's the other MiG-29?" He's like, "He's on your 6." And I'm like, "No." I like brake hard, and then this guy, he was just like playing with me, like a fish on the dock there for probably 10 minutes. I didn't get shot down. I ran out of gas. So that says something about my defensive BFM is actually pretty good, apparently. So
yeah, and I'll point out for the DCS players that aren't in VR, and even for those that are in VR, like we'll fly and somebody will be like, "Oh, I can tell who's in VR because I can hear them straining as they look around to check 6." And it's like, yeah, that's what you do, right? Yeah, you don't click the switch to look in the monitor. You're in VR, you check 6. And I'll lean around and check 6, but watching him defensive in the Viper, like I don't think my body can contort the way he was doing. Like he was falling out of the sim rig, like all over the place, just all over it.
Did you recline the seat enough for it to feel like an actual Viper?
No, it was not
No.
hyper reclined.
Yeah, where's that
No.
30 degrees of yeah. That's
Yeah,
funny.
well, the old adage, like lose sight, lose the fight. That there's nothing more relevant in dogfighting than that adage right there. If you lose sight of the dude, you're dead. So you got to keep sight the entire time. And
I just cheat. I use the
um,
F10 map.
yeah, I'll tell you guys, like, just as a little sidebar, actually, but the Air Force right now is investing a ton of money in operational human performance. So we've got strength and conditioning coaches, athletic trainers, massage therapists, all working in the fighter squadrons now. And previous generations of fighter pilots, in order to be better at pulling G's and dogfighting, it was like Jackie Moon, in whatever Tropic Thunder, and like these guys were smoking cigarettes and eating red meat and drinking beer in between halves to try and like increase their G tolerance. And the new age of fighter aviation is more of like in shape, young CrossFit style kids that really focus on athleticism, their bodies, like trying to train for the environment that they're in. And that's one of the things that I'm learning right now, because the generation that I grew up in, the people that instructed me were that type. They were like, hey man, just eat more red meat, drink more beer, smoke more cigarettes. You're going to be able to pull G's easier. And that's how you pull 9 G's. And the younger generation, like her generation, actually went the complete opposite direction. They take advantage of all the strength and conditioning coaches. And I'm a little bit caught in the middle now, but I'll say that I've come around. I'm working with the people on base right now, and that's a lot of it. A lot of it, particularly like dogfighting, is keeping sight. And in order to keep sight, you're going to do just about everything that you can to contort your body to keep track of these guys, because every single move that you make at the merge is costly. And that's frankly how you can easily win a fight, if if the person that you're merging with is unwilling to contort their body in the necessary way to keep sight of you. Like, I'll just put my airplane in a spot that ensures that I'm outside of your visual range. So it's one of the tactics that I'll teach, is go high and outside early and often and make that person turn around in a manner that they're unwilling to do. And if you're not willing to move all the way around and get your whole body up here to find a jet that's back over there, you've already lost the fight, dude. So yeah, the DCS, everybody in DCS now is going to be like calling up strength and conditioning coaches, like they're doing yoga stretching in the basement before they get on the sticks, dude.
Absolutely. One more thing before we hand the mic off to Match. Do you want to plug your side project real quick for anyone listening? Because there's a lot of people in the DCS world that want to do this in real life, and you've got a little side project that may help them find a path, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Station and I started a company called Sierra Mike Aviation. We do aviation consulting, and the vast majority of my clients come from Bogey Dope. So I've partnered with Bogey Dope. I take on new Bogey Dope clients all the time. We're doing a boot camp right now with about 30 kids that are interested in getting into the Guard and Reserve. So if you haven't heard of Bogey Dope, go to bogeydope.com. Go on the website. We specialize in application prep, interview prep. We'll walk you through the entire process on how to get hired in the Guard, Reserve, active duty. We'll teach you all of the ways of the force in order to make it happen and live out your dreams, becoming a fighter pilot, a bomber pilot, whatever it is that you guys want to do. So it's
like another episode. That's what that sounds like.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. So we're working on, we did a podcast episode on the Afterburn podcast with Rain, and then we're working on doing a little podcast of our own, not to compete with you guys at all. It's completely different. We're just talking about like application prep and interview and stuff. But you guys, if you're ever interested in becoming a fighter pilot in real life, bomber pilot, cargo guy, whatever it is that you guys want to do, please go on bogeydope.com. You can look me up. I'm on there, and then you guys can book me or send me an email or whatever you want to do, and I'm happy to teach you everything that that I didn't know when I first got into this business, and wish I would have known about how to actually make it happen in real life. So.
Well, I never said I was going to rejoin the Air Force, but time to live out my C-1. Time to live out my C-130.
I made a case for myself. Good. Yeah. Well, guys, it was a pleasure talking. I'm going to hand you off to Match and take a little baby duty off of her hands.
That kid is out.
Yeah,
might not have to go anywhere.
Yeah. Never said I was going to rejoin the Air Force, but now I heard a chance I can go fly C-130s. Will they accept the 100% disabled?
Yeah, right. With your 100% disability, go convince them. Welcome back, Hatch.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
All right, great.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah, hey. Sorry, he finally fell asleep, so I'm just gonna leave him in my arms if you guys are cool with it. So
we'll fire right off to the question that we're dying to ask is, tell us about the first time you fired the gun.
So I guess I probably had like a little bit more of the traditional experience from, there's like all this like pent up um like anxiousness of like when do I get to shoot the gun? And so like you're trying to get through B course, like your first flights, and get like your instrument qualification done so that you can go out and do like the tactical things and actually go shoot the gun. And my very first sortie, yeah, hopefully you don't screw it up. My very first sortie, I did get the ground rush that SIC talked about. Like you roll in and you shoot the gun. And even though the simulator in the A-10 like world, like the seat shakes to try to simulate like the vibrations of the gun, I wasn't expecting the entire like airplane to shake like it did when I pulled the trigger. And then like after, when I like finished my safe escape, like gun smoke just like seeped up from like my seat from because the gun is built around, the airplane's built around the gun, so you're sitting on the 30 the 30 cal there, so it's just this like smoke that comes all the way up. And my instructor actually told me, he said, as soon as you're done with your strafe pass, drop your mask and smell the smoke. So
Right up past.
yeah, so I did. Yeah.
Oh,
so I dropped my mask and smelt the smoke and was like, this is addicting. So
Now, Match, when you told me a while back, you told me your first story about how long are you supposed to squeeze the trigger on the gun?
yeah,
boy.
so you're supposed to pull the trigger for in combat they want you to do more like a 2-second burst, get like 200 rounds out at least, right? But when you're trying to limit your gun rounds to get like multiple passes that are good, it's about 50 per pass. I think because I was startled when like the entire airplane shook, I think I got out 18 like rounds. Like I was just like, oh, like I just wasn't expecting the entire airplane to shake.
And then you smell the smoke and you're like
So-
Danny
That's so
DeVito from Always Sunny, and you're like, I
Yeah,
get
that's
it
right.
now.
Yeah, I get it. Like, yeah, for
That's
sure. And I
awesome.
was like, let's do it again.
Oh man,
Do you have a
That's-
favorite weapon?
yeah.
I mean, the gun, right? Like I kind of just told you, but but that's
It's
okay.
just the gun. Everybody knows it's the gun.
Yeah. The other one that's pretty fun is the laser guided rockets. Those are pretty fun to shoot and watch them go. Like they're very, very accurate. So exactly where you have your laser, those things are going to go, including like through a window. So like if you've got like a car and it like you've got your laser aim point like in the window of a car, it will go through the window out the other side of the window, and you won't actually get like effects on the car itself. So you got to make like it is very precise. You got to make sure your laser's exactly where you intend it
There's
to
some
be.
F-15.
That was always something that that was always something we ran into with the MQ-9, was when we were shooting like the Hellfires off, and we typically our scout typically had us using three regular like Papa Hellfires, and then we had one November or one Mike, depending on what we could steal from somebody from the depot. But like whenever I would teach people on employing the thermobaric, the November models, everybody would always try to put it through the door of like the connexes, that when we were shooting them out at Nellis, and man, like you're like, dude, no, that's just gonna explode in like the first like 2 feet of the room. Like you gotta think of the angle, you're trying to teach people that, and having to put it above the doorway to make sure it came through. Yeah, I get that.
Podium effect, all that kind of stuff. Like you gotta think through your laser aim point for sure.
Yep, and that flashlight effect. Yeah, man, I go into so many rants in Discord every once in a while about that stuff. People are like, oh man, it's not hitting. I'm like, it's the flashlight effect. You gotta look at your laser spot.
Yeah, and then there was a bug in DCS
For sure, because yeah, well, they think it's, same thing. Like you think that it's like an error, but you got to think about like how, like you said, that flashlight effect. How far away are you? How far away is that laser energy going? Number one. Number two, like, are you going to be able to drive if you're dropping a laser guided, GBU 54, for example? Are you going to be able to laze that 54 to impact the entire time without gimbaling your pod? So you got to make sure like you're thinking about your hold pattern and making sure that like you're going to be in a position the entire time of flight that your pod is going to be able to see the weapon and the entire, or the target the entire time. Yeah,
So
urban canyoning.
So I have a fun question. What was it like having Scud as an instructor in the 38?
You don't have to answer that.
So he actually at the time was just doing the simulator stuff. So he only taught me in the simulator, but I will say that he was very patient with like teaching the basics. So he was quite the patient man, which then I had to embrace, so that when I became an instructor and the students were doing exactly what I did, and I'm looking at myself going like, come on. I'm like, embrace your inner SCUD, patience. Yeah, who's brava.
It's actually really true, because like when he was teaching me like tanking, like it's like I was PIOing everywhere, and I was trying to get on when I tried to get on the tanker and the sim and stuff, and he would sit there and just have these like the SCUD conversations with you.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, come on, man! Like it's okay. You just gotta,
very calm. He's got his instructor voice, right? So like,
it's not my normal voice.
His conversational voice is much different and then when he's instructing and he's trying to get you to calm down, he's like, "So tell me about this. Everything's great." And it's like this, like, wiggle your fingers and toes, and he's just like, it's almost like he like brings like his whole energy like down one, just to like bring your energy down.
If I could learn to do that to myself, because when I'm not teaching in DCS and something's not working, I don't bring it down a notch. It goes up like 5 notches. God, this piece of shit, goddamn sim doesn't work. Yelling and screaming.
So with your little makeshift sortie and there, what was probably one of your favorite things to do with whatever SCUD set you up with?
I started shooting Mavericks. I shot the gun a bunch of times, rolled in, and then I started just launching Mavericks left and right and just trying to get like the track. The one thing that I found is that the K model commanded track really easily in DCS, but the D model for some reason was having a difficult time commanding track in the typical way that my habit patterns for commanding release are. So typically what I do is I go dismiss forward hold to space stabilize when I roll in. And then I release that near the target, like in the HUD, I look where the Maverick reticle is over the target. Then when I go to my Maverick screen, then I go like to my China hat forward short to go from wide field of view to narrowed field of view. And then I fine tune with like the slew switch, like all while holding dismiss forward hold, all space stabilized that whole time. So I'm holding dismiss forward and hold, and then I'm slewing with my left hand over to the target, and then I release all at once, and that will lock, like it will like basically correlate, lock on there, and then I can go ahead and release with the pickle button with the Maverick off. And that worked really well for the Kilo model, but that was not working for me for the D model for whatever reason. And there are other ways to command track for a Maverick. That's just my habit patterns.
Yeah, in DCS, it's a bit derp where the D model has to lock to an actual object.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a coding thing.
Polarity or just coding or?
Yeah, it's just a coding thing. Yeah.
Okay.
But all right, well, let's see.
Yeah.
Before we cut you guys loose,
you have one last question. What do you have a most memorable moment in the hog in real life?
Yeah.
Most memorable sortie?
Yeah, sortie or a moment, just something that like so far in your hog career just stands out.
Yeah.
First time she shot the gun, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's one.
Yeah. So I was 6 wingman. We were downrange. We were in Aldafra, and He was having a difficult time with his airplane getting all of his functionality of his avionics to work. And this was after we had taken off. He had a gear issue. We turned back around. I landed after him.
Wait, so there I was.
Right, sorry. So there I was. It was 120 degrees outside, in all fairness, plus the humidity in all Joffre. The heat index was off the charts. It was like 150, right? Like with the heat index. It was awful. It was awful, awful, right? So we took off. He had a gear issue. We came back. We landed. He stepped to a spare. Then in the spare, he's having avionics issues, right? So we're looking at like trying to fix those avionics issues. And all the while, like we've already been airborne and on the ground. It's been 2 hours already, and we haven't even like taken off for the 2 or 3 or however long trek out there, plus the mission, plus the truck back. Like we haven't done any of that, right? So we're already 2 hours behind of what we should be. And like he's starting to call the top three of like, hey, maybe we need to get like somebody else like out here earlier. Like, I'm not sure that we can fix these issues. And one of the issues that he was having is that we were like near like some borders of countries that we were flying in, and his maps weren't displaying properly on his TAD. And it's a big, yeah, it's a big deal to fly into a country because you don't have proper maps displayed, right? Like we were already kind of on like the hot seat for like making sure we fly through the right airspace at the right altitudes and like being able to accomplish our mission. So it's pretty important not to just, you know, bump up against borders that we're not supposed to be bumping up against, international borders, right? Against countries that you're like, I'm not sure that we should be flying that close to that country.
Can't think of any
right?
countries around there. No.
Yeah, in a like fully loaded combat A-10, right? So, like the top three desk. He's just give him the left one, so he can hear you.
Oh, there you
go. So we're sitting there, and the top three desk is like, hey, like we'll try to get somebody else to come out there, but like you're all we've got for now. So like try to figure something out between you and your wingman. So here I am trying to like find solutions. So I start putting like waypoints out there of like where the border is on the country. So I'm just like putting like marks
and sending
of like here's yeah I'm just sending these like SID 9s of like these mark points like all the way of this border of like, hey, don't fly near here, I guess, like here.
Well, I'm on the radio talking to the top three. Like, this is my second deployment. I already been to Afghanistan. I already been to TSP to Korea. I'm an instructor. She's brand new. She's a wingman, which is why we're paired together to begin with, like experience, non-experience. I'm talking to the top three, like, hey, man, my maps don't work. This is stupid. Like, we got to get this figured out, blah, blah, blah. And I look over, and my map is just populating these points, you know, like just these drawings. And I know what she's doing, and she's not even saying anything.
I'm just doing it.
Throwing out these mark points, and I'm like, look, we can see one another, and I'm looking back at her in the chalks, like, you know, one spot to my left or whatever, and I'm kind of like shaking my head, like, dude, I get it, I understand, but like this is high risk right here. We've already been in trouble, not her and I, but like the squadron has already like gotten our wrist slapped a few times in this country for poor behavior around major airports. So yeah, so I was thinking to myself like, this is a bad idea. We should have scrubbed this whole thing. Like, have somebody else do it. I don't know, call the Vipers, have them do it. They'll do anything, those Viper guys, you know. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. Man. So anyway, so like finally, like I'm so pushed up that I'm like, let's go. Like I'm ready to go do the mission. Like, cause he's kind of like leaning towards canceling. And I'm like, no, let's go. Like, I've got this. Like, I will keep you away from the border you're not supposed to be on. My maps work. So let's go. So he ends up trusting me, and we end up going on the mission, and I kept him away from the borders, and he actually let me lead it because I'm the one that had the maps, and that was the first time that I'd like led in an A-10. Obviously, I have the experience in the T-38 of leading and instructing, but that was the first time that I'd led in the A-10, and so that was a pretty cool moment for me of just like working on like my flight leadership, rejoining on the tanker, getting like the 2 ship to and from the airspace safely, and then like running the mission while we were in the airspace we were working in. So
did you manage to finally get a good shot in on them with the flight lead? You got to rebrief, right? So
yeah, that's right. Do what I tell you. No, not
only things I want to hear out of you. 2,
we did
fire,
have,
and I'll take the fat one.
we did have a standing bet there for a minute about who could find the tanker first, like visually, right? So we were like flying around. She's leading this thing, and she's like, "I bet I find the tanker faster than you." And I'm like, "All right, bet's on. Like, let's go." And like within about 30 seconds, she lost that one. So then we go and do our thing.
I'm like, double or nothing.
Double or nothing. We got to hit the tanker again like 2 hours later. And she's like, double or nothing. And I was like, all right, double or nothing.
Lost again.
And again, 30 seconds later, I'm like, yeah, left 11 o'clock, 2 fingers above the horizon. And I think we hit it a third time.
Yeah,
on the
it was
way
a long
home.
mission. That was a long mission.
She's like, yeah, you want to do this again? And I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Like, whatever, dude.
Lost 3 times.
3 times in a row. Yeah.
How do you bring enough water for a mission like that? Holy cow! When it's that hot.
Funnily enough, he ran out.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he ran
Oh,
out.
that's actually pretty funny. So
He delved into his seat kit.
yeah.
Like, like the survival, like
no, not the seat kit, the survival.
The survival vest. Sorry, the survival vest.
Yes.
The water you carry in your survival vest. He's like ripping out because
I
he
cut it
ran
open.
out. It was such a long mission because the people that were supposed to come behind us, their airplanes didn't, like, they broke, so we were extended.
We got extended, and I didn't. Well, and we had already been airborne once with a gear issue. You have to come back down. So I think I crushed like 3 water bottles in that time. Like, I can't remember. I was probably carrying 2, 3 water bottles plus a Camelback up on the dashboard there, and I was out of water like 7 hours into this thing. And I'm like, I'm dying right now, bro. Like, I need some water. And then I remembered AFE packs of water, like really old bags of water. It tastes like iron. It's really bad. Really old, like Ziploc bags of water this big that are in those like military green bags, right? You can't even like cut them open.
He had to take his knife.
I'm like digging. I took my knife out. I cut it. I'm drinking water out of this bag, and I'm like, oh, this is so good. I'm so glad I made this decision. I get back, and I'm like, hey guys, AFE, you guys got to put more water in my survival vest because I drank it. They're like, you drank it? And I'm like, yeah, I ran out of water, dude. Like, I'm thirsty. And they're like, we didn't bring more of these. This is for survival. Like, now we're gonna have to take water out of Tony Bag of Donuts, survival vest next time that you fly. And I'm like, well, I'll drink his water too. I don't care. Tell the Air Force to give me more water.
Give me the water.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
That was good times.
All right. Do you need this? Okay. All right.
There you go.
Oh, here we go. We're
making it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I think we're at or a little past time. So first, thanks for coming over and flying the sim and being on the podcast. Super good to see you again, Match. And Stick. Awesome to meet you and hang out with you.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this.
Well, I'll link all you guys' stuff below. So just got to make sure I get that. Just put that stuff in the chat for me, and or in the Discord, send it to me, and I'll make sure I link all you guys' project and everything like that, because that's super cool. And
thanks.
I'll sign up. Try to get myself a C-130.
Yeah.
Slot
That's great.
At 38 years old and 100% disabled. So.
Very good.
Thanks for joining us. I think I'm gonna leave it to Gray to kick us out with what I just.
Thanks for coming on. It was a blast, and as always, rifle kazoo.
There it is. See you guys.
Attack.
Oh.